What if I told you that one of the strangest, most underrated timing tools in trading was invented before Bitcoin even existed, and yet still nails market reversals better than half of today's AI-powered indicators? It's called the T-structure, a weird, almost embarrassing relic from old-school technical analysis that somehow keeps predicting turning points decades after it was created. And yes, we're going to test it on Bitcoin, and the results are insane. Today, the T-structure, why it works, how to build it, and how traders used it to catch some of the craziest moves in Bitcoin history. Before we jump into charts, here's the truth. Most timing tools in trading are garbage. Half of them repaint, the other half look genius, until the trend changes. But every once in a while, a pattern shows up that seems to follow the market like a shadow. That's where the T-structure comes in, a time projection tool brought to life by Gerald Appel, the same guy who created MACD. It's ridiculously simple, almost too simple, but it works because it's built on one idea: financial markets move in waves, and the time between waves tends to repeat. T-structures, one of the strangest timing tools in all of technical analysis. Simple, almost embarrassing, and yet surprisingly effective at projecting market turning points. Not by price, but by time. Here's the idea in plain English. Markets move in waves, and the time between those waves tends to repeat more often than you'd expect. Price is chaotic, but time has rhythm. A T-structure measures that rhythm. You find a major low, that's point A. Then the market rallies into a high or a midpoint. That's point X. You measure how many days passed between A and X. Now comes the magic. You take that same number of days and project it forward from point X. That projected area becomes the window where the next major reversal, point B, is likely to happen. Not guaranteed, not exact to the day, but shockingly close again and again. Sometimes the center point X is a single peak. Sometimes it's the middle of a double top. Sometimes it's just a clean pause in the trend. What matters is that it represents the emotional midpoint of the move, and once the midpoint forms, the right side of the structure often mirrors the left side in time. A to X equals X to B. That's the core rule, and on decades of market data, this simple symmetry appears far more often than random chance should allow. Why does it work? Because human behavior repeats. Fear and greed rise and fade in cycles. The intensity changes, but the timing often stays surprisingly stable. Gerald Appel used T-structures on stocks, indexes, even commodities. And long before algorithmic trading, he was projecting market turns with nothing but a stopwatch and a pencil. It wasn't about predicting price. It was about predicting when the market was ready to turn. And that's why this tool still matters today, especially in fast, emotional markets. Because sometimes knowing the timing is more important than knowing the exact level. Now that the concept is clear, we can take this old school timing method and test it on the most emotional asset of the modern era, Bitcoin. Let's start with the monthly time frame, because on higher time frames, the rhythm of the market becomes impossible to hide. Here's the reference point, the coronavirus crash, March 2020, one of the fastest, most brutal dumps in Bitcoin's entire history. That's our point A. Now watch this. If we simply measure the number of monthly candles from that crash, all the way to the all-time high in 2021, we get exactly 20 bars. 20 months, perfect symmetry, exactly the kind of timing structure Appel described decades ago, playing out on Bitcoin to the candle. But it gets crazier. Take that same distance, the same 20 bars, and project it backward from the Corona dump. Where do we land? On a major macro high, a key turning point in the previous cycle, right on schedule. Now take the same 20 bar measurement and project it forward from the 2021 all-time high. What do we get? Another major high, the one that marked the beginning of the next correction. Again, perfectly aligned in time. 3 critical turning points. One one single rhythm, 20 bars. Forward or backward, the symmetry holds. That's not prediction. That's not magic. That's the hidden timing structure of Bitcoin's macro cycle showing itself in the cleanest possible way. And once you see a rhythm like that, you start wondering how many other turning points follow the same invisible clock. Alright, monthly charts are great, but let's be honest, waiting years for a setup is more investing than trading. So let's drop down to the weekly time frame, because here, you can actually trade the rhythm. And what I'm about to show you, nobody else shows. So pay attention, value this. We take the same anchor point as before, the all-time high of 2021. That's our center, our point X. Now let's measure 20 weeks backward, just 20. And look at that, a perfect key low, a major weekly swing point, exactly where the previous cycle reset its momentum. Coincidence? Let's test it. Now we project 20 weeks forward from the 2021 ATH. And again, boom, a major weekly high, a clean reversal zone, right on time. Still think it's random? Let's push it further, another 20 weeks forward. And what do we get? Another key high, the one that kicked off a significant correction. 3 major turning points, one single rhythm, 20 weeks. Forward or backward, the symmetry does not break. And here's the real point. If all you used was this one timing structure, you could have traded only specific weeks. No stress, no noise, no constant chart watching. Just show up when the cycle says the market is ready and skip the rest. That's the power of understanding time, not price, time. And here's the crazy part. This rhythm works everywhere, on almost any asset, on almost any time frame. But the higher the time frame, the cleaner the symmetry, the more precise the timing. Try it yourself, you'll see it. So now, let's break down the current situation on Bitcoin, right now. Start with the April low, that's our point A, count 20 weekly bars forward, and what do we get? The exact low of the range. The moment the market stopped bleeding and launched straight into a run toward a new all-time high. Perfect timing, again. Now let's do the reverse. Take the all-time high, count 20 weeks backward, and yes, we land on a key high. A major swing point that previously helped push price into the ATH. Same rhythm, same timing, same story. And here's what matters most. Right now, Bitcoin is sitting on the 20th week from that same key high. What does that usually mean? It means the market has likely set its local bottom. The timing cycle is complete. The structure is ready for the next phase, and just like I said in the previous video, the target for this move is at least $102,800. The rhythm points up, the structure points up, and the cycle is right on time. So what does all of this tell us? That markets aren't as random as they look, that time has structure, that human behavior repeats, whether it's 1980s stock indexes or modern hyper-volatile Bitcoin. The T-structure doesn't predict price, it predicts rhythm, and when the rhythm stays intact, the turning points reveal themselves long before the crowd sees them. We just walked through yearly cycles, monthly cycles, weekly cycles, and the pattern kept showing up. 20 bars, again and again, past, present, and even in the setup unfolding right now. Most traders obsess over price levels. They chase candles, they react to noise. But if you understand time, you don't have to chase anything. You simply wait for the moment the cycle says, now. And if this timing structure continues to hold, Bitcoin's next major destination is already mapped out. 102,800. Not because of hopium, not because of wishful thinking, but because the rhythm points there. So remember this lesson, look deeper than the price. Study the timing, because the charts may look chaotic, but the market's heartbeat is anything but random. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see how this timing model evolves in real time, stay tuned. The next cycle is already forming.